Alright, this is my motorized 80cc pedal bike. I'm not going to do a video on how to build it because there's a million bazillion of them out there, and you don't really need a video how to build it because it's quite straightforward. But a couple of things that I did, I haven't really did any modifications really to the motor, just mods on how I built it, and I'll show you what I did. I'm going to start with the chain tensioner. So I put the chain tensioner on. Then it comes with two bolts, these two here. Once I put it in place and bolted it, I drilled right through it, and right through the frame, and bolted it so that this won't spin. Doing some research, supposedly these spin and catching the spokes. So now this will never spin, even if it comes loose. Then I put the extra bolts on it so that your legs don't get caught on the threads. I mean, I could have cut it down, and put the lock nuts on there and cut it all, and then I took an extra bolt that it comes with, put it in a vise and drilled a small hole through it, and put two bolts on it. So not all the pressure's just on that. There's extra safety for the clutch. I took the bolts off and I changed these bolts because usually they come with the cap bolts. They usually come with these. And as you can see, some of them are long threads and some of them are short, where they just haven't been cut right. And what happens is the bolt has a chance of bottoming out, hitting the top of that, and not being able to tighten up. So guys get head gasket leaks. And I know one guy local to me, where he tightened it up, it bottomed out, hit this, and then he kept tightening it up and trying to tighten it up to stop the head leaking. He ended up ringing the bolt in down here. So, and the exhaust nuts, when the exhaust nuts come, there wasn't much thread in here, and I had to use like loads of different washers and that. So what I did was I put the nut on the bolt first, bottomed it all the way down, and then I tightened up this bolt all the way I could, and then used the ring spanner and tightened this up to there, basically making a stud. Obviously lock washers, keep an eye on these because these aren't lock nuts. Got some Loctite on there though. My engine mounts, I put rubber inner tube and I folded it up to make like a rubber block, and I covered my U-bolt with racing inner tube. So then I've got inner tube here. I've also got inner tube around here for the muffler clamp. Just this part, not that part, so it don't get hot and melt. So anywhere there's contact between the engine mount and the frame, there's rubber, so it feels really nice and smooth. I also covered my wires up. My connections are here in the middle. About right here, and I just basically slid the wires down and shoved the inner tube up, connected them, and then slid it back down, so it's all nice and neat. You don't see no wires or no connections. I took my clutch cable here, and I ran it down nice and up and into the frame. Got some black tape to cover the cable so it don't fray. It runs up into the frame, up and out, so it's not all hanging down. You don't need extra zip ties. The throttle cable, they usually come extra long. So what I did was I ran it up under here. So these are hanging points. And then I just ran it around the back and down into the carb. So I've only got one zip tie because I don't like the look of pure zip ties. It just looks cheesy and tacky. What I might do actually is shorten the cable up and buy a nipple kit and shorten the cable up. And then my next step, I haven't finished up here yet. I'm taking these off, and I'm going to put the dials here. And these levers are getting changed. I'm waiting for my double lever to come. So both of these will be gone, so I can bring my lever out properly. But just for now, temporary, they work. And that's pretty much it. Stock wise, I just put it together and run it stock. The next thing I'll be changing will definitely be the exhaust and the carburetor. That's going to be the first modification, and obviously porting the block and the head. The exhaust, head, carb, and I'll do my own work to the block and the CDI. That's pretty much it. It's just simple engines, you know, nothing to them, but it's looking good. Oh, and my double stand. That was the first thing I bought. Before I even started working on the bike, this was the first thing I got, was a double stand to hold the bike up and make it a lot easier to work on. But it rides really great, really smooth. It doesn't feel all rattly or nothing, you know, with there's rubber in there.